welcome, Gerwyn. Lovely to
Thank
see you
you.
today, and thank you for this. So, for people who don't know me, I'm Dr. Bridget. I'm a neurolinguistic programming reprogrammer of thoughts and feelings, mainly for people in business to get them the success that they want and deserve. And today, because I've worked with Gerwyn, I want Gerwyn to sort of please introduce yourself and then ask you some questions just so that people can understand a little bit more about what I do. That's okay.
Yeah, certainly. So I'm Gerwyn Tumelty. I'm a chartered engineer and project management consultant. And yeah, I guess I've been working for myself and for others for the last 25 years. I'm ex-serviceman. And I have family in West Wales, in Pontarddulais. I'm married to Kate, and I have 3 teenage boys.
Lovely. Okay, so I guess to start with, I think it's people don't know what challenges to bring to me. So if we could ask you what challenge you were having before you found me, that would be really useful for other people, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a really good question, actually, because I had a lot going on, and a really busy head of negative thoughts, and maybe some dark thoughts as well, but it was quite overwhelming. And when I look back on it, I think what I was reaching out for was, what's my purpose? What's my sort of just cause? You know, what am I about? And I got a certain amount of help in dealing with some stress and anxiety and dare I say it, depression. And that got me to a place where at least I could get my head above water. And then I thought, right, now my head's above water and I can see a little bit more light. Those questions then came to me, you know, what am I about? Where am I now? What do I do next? And what do I want, really? And whether it's from life or career or professional circumstance, business, whatever. And so that was the challenge that I had, and what I was trying to solve was really what was I about, you know. And it was looking for that sort of that why, that just cause, that purpose.
So you were saying your head was above water. What was happening with the rest of you at that point?
Desperately kicking around trying to keep it above water. I suppose it's a good analogy, because I felt like I was treading water to a certain degree, and occasionally go under and occasionally come up. And another analogy would be, you know, in a tunnel system, and knowing that there's light at the end of these tunnels, but not knowing which way to go.
Okay.
And not, you know, and sometimes seeing a glimmer of light and it disappearing, you know, and life taking over, other things distracting. And I'd had probably 3 or 4 challenging years, and I'm sure everybody else did with COVID as well. I was working for myself at the time, and prior to that, while I was working for myself, I'd also been quite ill and had an operation, overcome that. So I had quite a lot of gone on in the run up to meeting with yourself, and I sort of lost my way a little bit. And when I reflected back on who I was without any help, I was just and the I guess the negative thoughts. I remember years ago being really positive, you know, and it was always positive chatter in my head. How had it turned into such negative sort of thoughts or chatter or conversation or whatever, and bring myself down, really. So yeah, I needed a bit of help.
I guess there was, you know, thinking about our first conversation, I still remember I was parked in a car and I'd driven off on the lane somewhere in Newport, found myself in this amazing park with rugby going on, and I sat and chatted to you. So. But I think it's fair. I think it's fair to say you probably had a bit of trauma as well, isn't it? So the journey from positive to not so positive was also had a little bit of that going on as well, I think. So Yeah, how did you find me anyway? Where did you look?
So yeah, when I'd like I said, I got myself a initial bit of help to get myself, I guess a little bit straightened out, and to be able to look around and think what happens next. I got on the internet, and I was looking for career coaches or therapists, life coaches, that type of thing. And I really can't remember exactly where it landed me, but it was on sort of a website where there were a number of different people or organizations offering your type of services. And I guess what drew me to you was locality, for one, was the geography. I did want, after I guess COVID and spending too much time on a Zoom call, here we are on a Zoom call,
Yeah.
Was having the ability to talk to somebody face to face, somebody who I didn't know actually, and so there would be nothing in the way, or no relationship type of thing, and the opportunity just to talk. And yeah, I got onto your website. I looked at the different pages on there, attracted by the breakthrough therapy. And if I remember right, I think on the website that I had landed, you did have a sort of a checklist, if I remember right, of all the things that you should ask yourself before you engage with a therapist. So I essentially responded to all those answers and emailed you, and I think that was my initial inquiry. So I'd given it a bit of thought when we first then got in touch.
No, fab. And what is it that you got as an outcome from working with me?
Oh,
I know that's a big question, but
it is. It comes down to, I think, the values that I discovered that I needed to hook myself to, instead of all these negative ones, and maybe old ones actually as well. And I remember during the process coming up with some cliche or some old sort of values, but the values that came out at the end, the ones of positivity and clarity and understanding and direction and confidence, of those five is probably the clarity was the most important one. The positive one, I think, was, for me, was just getting rid of some other stuff. But yeah, it was the clarity one, just to, and that was the main thing that I got as the overall outcome from the time that I spent with you, and was grateful for.
Thank you. And how was the process for you? Because I think a lot of people who come and see me feel that it's different to a lot of things they've done before. I was just wondering how you found it.
Actually, talking to somebody that was new to me anyway. So I really didn't have any preconceptions, apart from I guess my own nervousness around opening up to somebody. So that was a piece that I had to get over and get out of my comfort zone. Some of it was a bit strange, yeah, because I think it's a bit closing your eyes and thinking, I can't remember what you call it now.
We did time
a bit hypnosis or hypnotic in a way. And again, it's not that's that I'm used to. But I think overall I was open to and trusting of, and that's what I was looking for actually. In that first 30-minute call we had, I thought to myself, this is a person I'd be happy to talk with, person that I think I can trust, and did a little bit of homework, and somebody I can respect. And I think I trusted the process really, and engaged with it. And although it might have been unusual to me, I followed it, and I found it really, really, therapeutic actually.
I guess what most people might not realize is that it's our unconscious mind that drives our emotions and our behaviors, and people often work with the conscious mind looking for solutions that most people would look for, and sometimes they don't work. And that's why working with the unconscious mind, which can be a bit hypnotic, is is so useful, because you just align it all. But I guess
Yeah,
that's the reason for that.
yeah.
So what surprised you most about the results, do you think?
Oh gosh, it in a way it didn't surprise me. I know
Okay.
it sounds odd, because I think the expectations I had was that there would be a lot of good come out of it,
Mm-hmm.
and so a lot of good did come out of it. Yeah, I was pretty glad actually that I didn't have to make massive changes in my life. It was just the clarity of some of the things I'd already been thinking about.
Yeah.
I suppose the biggest surprise was just prioritizing things and getting things in context, getting it straight, shedding a lot of rubbish as well, really. And I
Yeah.
thought that was good. That helped with getting rid of negative thoughts. I felt quite armed actually for the future, to when that comes along again, when things get tough, being able to deal with it. So yeah, maybe not. I don't think there was nothing else, nothing that sort of jumped out and completely shocked me,
Yeah.
or surprised me, because I guess that's what I was looking for in the first place,
Yes.
was that help.
Yeah.
Um, I suppose maybe one of the surprises is what happened afterwards, the ongoing support, and how that sort of, I partly wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting it to be so close, so warm, and open up other opportunities really to meet with members of your network, etc. And that was good.
Mm.
Um, and the other surprise I think I had, although I might have been a bit open to this anyway, was I'm really keen to go further on the journey, and explore neuro-linguistic programming further.
Mm.
So that's, and combine that into what I'm now doing. So maybe that is a bit of a surprise, because I wouldn't have, a year or two ago, never even thought of that.
So what would you say to someone who's feeling perhaps a bit stuck, not sure how to go forward, needing clarity, needing to get rid of negative thoughts? What would you say to them about coming to see me?
I would say, definitely. It's worked for me. It might not work for somebody else, and they might not be, they might not be of the type of character that I would want to go down that path. But
Yeah.
I would have a lot of positive things to say to them, and strongly encourage them at least to get in touch, at least to have a 30-minute call with you, and then make a decision on whether they think it's the right thing for them or not. I found that first 30 minutes invaluable. Really, it was a good opportunity to chat anyway,
Yeah.
and it was probably a make or break for me, in terms of, because it is a commitment. But I would say to anybody, if they are stuck, you're probably somebody who would be happy to advise and help, and guide somebody else. Well, why not invest in yourself and do that for yourself? And that was one of the main drivers for me.
Yeah.
And I think, the if you're prepared to invest in yourself, then you're going to be better for other people as well. So, I think if you are stuck, then get yourself unstuck.
Yeah. Thank you, Gerwyn. And I know that we're going to be working together going forward, and be in the same network, and I'm just inspired to see how much progress you've made. And thanks for talking about it. And
No problem.
I'm gonna call a halt there. And so if people want to get in touch with me, then I'll put some details onto the end of this video.